Hello, my friends. I'm so glad that I could be live with you here. I'm wondering, do these earbuds actually work? I don't know, but they make me look rather, I don't know, what's the word? Metrosexual? I don't even know what that word means. Maybe I should take them out. I don't even know if they're actually synced up with the phone. How's the voice coming through? Is the voice coming through good, or is it echoey? Like a girl. See what I mean? Someone said like a girl. Okay, that does it. I'm gonna take them off. You know, I went to military school, so ever since then I've had this macho anxiety about ever being confused with traveling around hotels and hotels, but thinking of you guys. All right, let's take these out. And I'm not gonna start the broadcast over because I'm not that kind of a guy. But I do want to talk to you about something very important. Okay, can you hear me? Check this out. The left is going crazy. Here we got Trump, even after their anti-Trump rant, even after their Putin meltdown effort, 45% of all registered voters say, hey, Trump's not doing that bad. 88% among Republicans. We haven't seen numbers like this since George Bush at 9/11. All right, so here's what I want to talk to you about. The meltdown on the left, you know, so what they thought that this would break Trump supporters, but it didn't work. So now they're going back crazy. They literally, I'm working on the 4 stages of mad cow disease because I'm talking about mad cow media right now. But check this. New Yorker, do you see this? The disgraceful New Yorker magazine has Trump coming through Trump Towers on the escalator, and tell me they don't know they're playing with a red tie, but it looks like a streak of blood. This is like this goes back to the decapitation supposed comedy of Kathy Gifford, who had her own meltdown. This infuriates me. You guys, and nobody's covered it in the news. Bunch of cowards. What I want you to do is I want you to contact the New Yorker. Someone post it, the New Yorker, and this is, who's the guy? This is Barry Blitt. Barry Blitt called Thumbs Up. Well, that's a disgrace. I mean, why don't you imagine what would happen if we had put Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer on the escalator there with their name tag on their back. Inexcusable. But this is how they're losing. They're losing it big time. Now, what came out in the news today is what we already knew. Don't ever get bored with the details. The FISA warrants. We found out the creepy FISA warrants for spying on Trump was based supposedly on Carter Page. Well, you know what? They got 13 Russians they indicted, 12 Russians. Not Carter Page. Evidently, Carter Page never was seriously a target. Who came up with the Carter Page argument that we needed to investigate Carter Page as an agent? Here's where this comes from. You ready for this? Harry Reid, Dirty Harry, the former Senate Majority Leader for Obama. He sent a letter to Comey that they needed to investigate this guy, Carter Page. Now, what made Harry think that they needed to investigate Carter Page? Why did he turn it over to Comey? Because Brenner, the corrupt CIA communist director, former communist, he wrote a letter to Harry saying we should be investigating this guy. And where did Brenner get it from? You ready for this? The Democratic Party, the dossier, the fake Russian dossier done by GPS. Brenner got his information from the GPS Russian dossier, turned it over to Dirty Harry. Dirty Harry went to Comey, and Comey said, let's investigate. Let's get the FISA warrants. Let's spy on the Trump campaign. We have serious concerns about Russian interference. They knew there was no Russian interference. They were deep state, looking to just do what they could to undo the American electoral process. By the way, what does Russia really gain out of all this? Think about this. Russia's main goal is to make America look weak because it's not really a functioning democracy. Do you know who does that perfectly? CNN. That's what the left-wing media does. They make every American doubt the credibility of their president and their country. They are the worst stinking advertisement for America around the world. I'm in Bangkok, I'm in Budapest, I'm in Beijing. I got to put up with Vice President Wolf Blitzer and pooper scooper Anderson Cooper, who is literally the international pooper scooper trying to find some poop he can scoop up and turn into a news breakout news. Pooper scooper Cooper. Say that 5 times. And yeah, I am. And people go, well, Lance, you take... See, Christians that don't pay attention to this stuff think they're spiritual, and they think I'm off. I had some people recently say, they try to give me, to fake me out. Lance, we think that perhaps you should focus more on humor and conviviality and laughter. Of course they do. I always find the comedy, but I'm finding the comedy like a good Jewish comedian to make a political point. Christians are not informed, and they're not informed, and therefore, when they're not informed, they're useless, because there's a battle going on, and Christians aren't even, they're the electorate. They're the people that vote. They're the people that pay the bills. They're the people that pay taxes. But Christians disengage. They're asking for a revival. Well, you know what? Sometimes a revival isn't what we need. It's a reformation. A reformation is not a revival. A revival's for Christians. Revival's for believers. Revival is gold dust, feathers, miracles, and tent meetings. Reformation is the civil rights movement, and it's the breakup of the medieval Catholic Church and the tyranny over the minds of the masses who don't get the Bible written in their language. Reformation has martyrs, not revivals. Revivals don't have martyrs. Revivals have persecution from the religious. So the FISA warrants, total bogus. And these guys get away with it. They're getting away with it. They're getting away with it. Brenner should be called out. Everyone who signed those warrants should be right now accounting for it. I'm surprised there isn't even more response from the judges now that the story's out. The judges, I guess, are embarrassed. By the way, all the black ink, all the redacting, all that black ink that covers everything in those memos, that's the names of the people that are embarrassed to be public. Most of that is not hidden sources and processes. Most of that is the names of people that don't want to be publicly embarrassed by being involved in the FISA application process. All right, so here's the deal. We have the Russia, Iran, interesting deal. So President Trump, tell you, the president of Iran made a big mistake. Big mistake. He never, ever, ever should have tried to bully Donald Trump. If Donald Trump's having a bad week, first of all, never give him the gift of a new news story. This guy's a genius. If he's having a bad week with Russian coverage, he'll find a news item. He's like a guy with a laser pointer and a cat. He just runs that laser pointer along the ground. The cat goes following it right into a wall. So that's what Trump does with the media. So let's talk about Trump and Iran. Let's see if I can get the story to come up here. Trump threatens Iran. So Iran says, if you get along with us, it'll be the mother of all peace. But if you have a world war. So let's see. Trump warns Iran. Oh boy. Read this one. Donald Trump. To Iranian President Rouhani, never, ever, ever threaten the United States again, or you will suffer consequences, the likes of which few throughout history have ever suffered before. We are no longer a country that will stand for your demented words of violence and death. Be cautious. Wowee. Tell you what, the Iranians, they take that seriously. They actually do. They know that Trump did this kind of verbal exchange with North Korea, but he wanted North Korea and him to get along. He doesn't care about getting along with Iran. He doesn't like Iran. He perceives them as a threat to the United States. He's more prophetic and spiritually discerning than Obama and the deep state Democrats everywhere. He knows they're a threat, and they are. They're a threat. China's a threat. North Korea's a threat. Russia doesn't have to be a threat. Here's the stupidity of the left. We don't want to drive Russia into the arms of Iran and China, because Iran and Russia is Iran's #1 customer. So when Donald Trump writes a tweet like that, anyone with half a brain cell knows he's not on the payroll of Putin, because he's putting a finger right in the eye of the Iranian regime, and he's letting Russia indirectly know that he's in no state to compromise with Iran. And even Putin knows he can have a good relationship with Trump, and he wants one. But he's not going to pick a fight with this guy over Syria. He already watched him launch missiles twice. He knows Trump's capable of pulling the trigger. So he's going to kind of work with the guy. He's very shrewd, Putin. And I'd like to do an interview with him. Oh, the Russian chick. You got this story? Catch on, and then I'll give you this one more thing, then I gotta run. I'll do a broadcast later this week. But the Russian girl, this is hilarious. So they got the girl who supposedly is a Russian spy. You'll catch this, Butina, Maria Butina. And but what I love is the New York Times links her with the NRA and the National Prayer Breakfast. The National Prayer Breakfast? Because she attended. And so what's the New York Times trying to do? They're trying to say that the Washington evangelicals that do the prayer breakfast are compromising with Russian espionage. Let me tell you something. You guys are mostly Christians that watch my stuff. You have to have the IQ of an animal cracker to put that scenario together. People that come to an evangelist breakfast get the gospel. And we don't care if you're working for China or Russia or if you're a jihadist. That's what we call preaching the gospel. We preach to everyone that comes to that breakfast. And our goal, those of us that are participants, is to share Jesus and build bridges in the spirit of Jesus and destroy the mischief of the propagandists and try to find ways to connect people. Now, the final story for you is The View. Judge Jeanine getting chewed out by Whoopi Goldberg and the whole debacle that happened there. By the way, I want you guys to, it's about a couple thousand people watch this. I want you to go to the Facebook page there and read what I wrote about Trump. And I look forward to your comments on that New Yorker picture, the disgraceful thing. Because, I can't get Facebook to ever give me adequate coverage. It's crazy. I mean, this thing should have 50,000 people by now. It's only 9,000 because Facebook algorithm, they're trying to slaughter conservatives. By the way, Twitter's not much better, and that's where my Periscope is. They're out to axe you too. We've got to get our heads together. Frankly, you want to really freak these people out? Keep Trump in office. Keep Trump in office. And then we're going to come after these media platforms the same way that Teddy Roosevelt went after the railroads. And we're going to bust up the monopoly on the information highway so that we never are in a position as conservatives and Christians to have Google and YouTube and Facebook and Twitter boycott us or shadow ban us. That's got to stop. You got to have an attitude, people. You have to feel about these things. I mean, you don't have to go Alex Jones on every rumor you hear, but you got to feel on these issues, right? So anyway, Whoopi releases a can of Whoopi on Judge Jeanine. But the left is deranged. The left they don't allow you a margin to have your own opinion. So here's the deal with the left. They don't have any buffer. They don't have shock absorbers. They don't have margins. They don't have a cushion emotionally for differences. And on The View, Whoopi desperately needs a margin. She needs a Whoopi cushion. She needs a Whoopi cushion. Oh my God. Anyway, she does. She needs a Whoopi cushion. The whole View needs one. And because, my gosh, somebody was so funny today. They were writing to me, the deplorables will arise, but they spelled deplorables wrong, and they wrote the deployables. And I thought, that's it. We need to be deployable. We need to be deployable. By the way, check out lancewallnau.com/dream trip. I think we're sold out in Washington, D.C. I never even told you guys about it, but we've got a real kick-butt conference on recalibrating prophetically. I mean, the window's so strong in America right now and the world that I'm focusing on recalibrating. The doors are opening to nations. I mean, I can't talk about half the stuff I want to talk about because it would violate the protocol of the stuff I'm doing. But nations are open, doors are open like never before. And I want you to recalibrate your destiny. We'll probably put this thing on a video or live stream. I'll try to get it for Periscopians. I'll try to get you a channel because I'm going to be focusing for days on how to take it, 50, especially if you're 50 years old or older, how to take the prophetic word in your life and reframe it so that you're zeroing in on a reprioritizing of focus for the convergence zone, which is 50 years and older. That's when the stuff really comes together. And I mean, you need to do that, but we need to have the world prophetic story because America and Donald Trump are it's a fragile moment in history, but we've got all the marbles. We have them economically, we have it militarily. We're the only superpower that can hold the world in check. China wants to break our back. It can't do it yet. It's only half our GDP. Russia has the GDP of Canada. It's the fact that they're a strong military with 4 bases that we have to get along with them because them in Iran, like I said earlier, them in China, them in North Korea, and them in Syria, they're like meddlesome. They're like, you have to deal with them. And Putin can be won for much less than the price we got to pay for being invested billions of dollars over our head in NATO. Trump is a brilliant business guy. We're about to hit 4% growth. We never had that before. And we got to keep the guy alive. You hear me? We got to keep the Republicans spineless, fearful, weak, fragmented, nervous Republicans strong in Washington. We got to give them a backbone. And I'm telling you, when I get back, I'm going to be doing more in Washington and more media. I have to, because we got to mobilize the church. I watch TBN, Daystar, God TV. These are great channels. I was just on God TV last week. I love Ward Simpson, had me on. But they're not talking political stuff because they're afraid of offending their viewers. So the very absence of prophetic is going to be on Christian television. We have to get our own voices out. It can't all be Ben Shapiro and Rush Limbaugh and Mark Levine and Sean Hannity because they don't mobilize the body of Christ directly. They're not calling the church. We're the ones that determine the outcome of what happens in the nations. All right. I love you guys. Pray for the president. Pray for the left. And pray that God turns everything they do to destroy Donald Trump into an asset. Now, by the way, my title for this broadcast was, something about the danger that New Yorkers in. Let me tell you what happens. I don't know if you know this, but when you release a curse against what God has blessed, well, think about this. When you curse someone like a president who God, I'm not talking about like a random secular character, someone who God has singularly anointed. When you come against, I've seen it happen, man. When you come against, like Herod stretched out his hand to kill the apostles, God judged Herod. Now what happens is, when these people put pictures of assassination, death, and violence, when they endorse the image and yuck joke about it and they're tongue-in-cheek, they open up a door to a backlash. It will boomerang. It will hit Trump because they're trying to assault him with a visual curse. But it will bounce off of Trump, and we're going to come right back to the New Yorker magazine. Now, watch what happens. So we have to pray, because now suddenly I'm worried about the New Yorker magazine because they opened up a door. When you release a curse, the curse causeless doesn't come. If it doesn't land, it boomerangs right back. And when it boomerangs back, it boomerangs stronger than the one you sent. That's why we don't engage with cursing curses. We bless them that curse us. Why? Because if they reject my blessing, where does the blessing go? Back to me. You get that? Bless them that curse you, because the boomerang is, if God doesn't land it on them so that they change, the blessing comes back. But when you send curses, like the New Yorkers doing, of that nature, mamma mia. They open up a door to a boomerang coming back to them. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm concerned about. So, let's see what happens. I love you guys. Bless you. I'll talk to you soon. Hi, I'm Lance Wallnau, but you already know that. Did you know that you can subscribe, however? You just push that button right there or over there and ding. Now we're connected. Look forward to seeing you soon.